Welcome again, Leo. Dadhichi here from astrology.com.au. It's November 2016 and I want to continue along the theme of focusing in on those transits, those very important transits that are going to be significant for you at this point in your life, this juncture, which is November, the second last month of 2016. If you're tuning in for the first time, welcome. You'll see that the way I approach the horoscope, which is based on the Western system of astrology and the transits, it's a little bit different. I don't want to go through chronologically and look at every single aspect that happens, but more or less just to focus on those key points. For example, we enter the month with the new moon having taken place around the 30th of October, so just into the new moon, and this new moon occurring in the sign of Scorpio, which has to do with your family life. And according to some astrologers, including myself, this fourth house has to do with your inner self, your inner peace, and your inner happiness. Now, I'm going to couple this with another transit that's taking place. The transit of Saturn, which is moving through your fifth house of creativity. Again, some astrologers extend that meaning to relate to such things as your spiritual mind, your creative self, your hobbies, entertainment, musical or artistic skills. It's also a competitive house. So we're having Saturn moving through this area, and I have talked about this before, but I want to go even deeper for you into analysing how this is affecting you and how the new moon is also part of this process right now. The new moon meaning that there is a shift and there is a distinct capacity within you to release some new energy now, given that this creative process has been stifled. Saturn's main, role is to test you, and transiting through this fifth house, which we see here, it actually puts the brakes on the whole creative process. Now that can take several different forms. One is, if you're creative and you know exactly what it is that you want to do, that you've probably heard the term writer's block. That happens to creative writers who are brilliant, guys like Stephen King or Woody Allen, the great screenplay and director. They would tell you that although they have a great capacity for creativity and expression, there are times where it's almost as if the gates are shut and there's no movement of that creative energy. So that's the first manner in which this can express itself. The second is, for those of you who are looking for some creative outlet and just can't seem to find what that is. You're probably wondering how the new moon, peace and happiness, has anything to do with this. Well, of course, when you are freely creating, expressing yourself, you're feeling joyful about that. Therefore, that inner peace will naturally flourish. So the good news is that although you've had that obstructive block, the new moon is showing that there is a way for you to start recovering that inner happiness. Now, people find it hard to accept that. For most people, the concept of happiness means you either do something, get something, find yourself in a circumstance that you desire, or achieve something that immediately causes the happiness within you. And what I'm saying is that this new moon should be approached with a different, back to front attitude, which is, okay, I'm not feeling that creative process. I'm not really comfortable or satisfied where I am, but let me just be happy in this moment and let that take me to where it will. And that's a real discipline. It's very, very difficult. But I've mentioned on many occasions that scientists have now discovered that if you're depressed, the simple act of smiling, even if it's faked, has some impact on the brain. There's such an intimate link between the chemical processes in the brain, which relate to happiness, and the muscles in the mouth smiling and in the face doing what they do when one is happy. If you're unhappy and you reverse that process and smile even if you're not happy, there's some sort of cellular memory there where you can start to feel happy. That's an experiment you have to do for yourself. I'll be interested to see if it works for you. But that's precisely what I'm saying. You may not yet have found that skill or activity or creative hobby that gives you the satisfaction and the happiness that you're looking for. But that's no reason for you at this juncture in your life for you to not be happy. So that's what I think the new moon is about. We also see that recently Venus transited the position of Saturn in that fifth house. That is the ruler of your career. So there is some indication now that having passed that obstructive, restrictive element of Saturn, that the creative process might indeed be opening up by itself for you. So take heart. It's not all that bad. We also see that you do have the drive now. Mars is in the sixth house. That's just past the very intense conjunction of Pluto. I talked about that for some months. That's also releasing a lot of pent-up tension or energy or even aggression if you have that. And so these three aspects are very important. And we see that the full moon that takes place on the 14th is exceptionally good news for you, because that 10th house is your career. The full moon relating to, I guess, in your case, hidden activities, charitable acts and spirituality, which is also tied in with the notion of happiness. Excuse the lighting here. We've had some really bad typhoons here in the Philippines, so it's messing a little bit with the current, and the lights are sort of fading in and out of brightness, so you'll excuse me. It's not my halo, don't worry about it, nor your screen. But that ruler of the 12th house of the moon moving into its fullness in your career sector is also an exceptionally good omen for the second half of the month, bringing you back into that sense of completeness, that sense of happiness and fulfillment through the creative process. Now again, let me qualify that. The creative process is not necessarily something you have to do in a musical or artistic or poetic way. It's an attitude of mind where skillful action is attended with love and devotion. So it really is, again, just as I said, reversing the smile and the idea of happiness, reversing the task and the satisfaction you get is trying to find satisfaction even in the most menial tasks, to extract that creativity, because creativity is nothing other than focused attention, skillful, loving action in the moment, forgetting about the outcome. So that for you, my dear friend, Leo, is the test, the task, the exercise, the discipline for you at this time, given the transits as I see them. And I'd love to hear back from you to see how that works. There are just a few little techniques that might help you break the back of that writer's block that I've just mentioned and get you back onto the path of really great creative expression and inner contentment. Till next month, take care. In the meantime, visit me at astrology.com.au. You'll see all the loads of stuff that are available there. And naturally too, if you want a more detailed analysis, face-to-face with me, those private readings are also available. Take care. Bye-bye now.